Right, hello, welcome to the next video. What we're looking at now is something called tolerance. Now, you might not be familiar with the word in a mathematical sense, but you're probably familiar with the idea of what it actually means in maths. And basically, tolerance is the idea of saying you can have somewhere in a range of values and it still be acceptable. So think of, for example, if you were in tech or something and you were making a piece of a sculpture or a piece of something for tech. You might say, well, it has to be 10 centimeters long, but does it need to be exactly 10 centimeters long? Well, you've probably got a bit of give either way. You could have it a few mils shorter, a few mil longer than that. And that's your tolerance. Your tolerance is saying, okay, it's 10 centimeters, plus or minus a little bit on either side would still be acceptable. And so that's what tolerance means. It means just saying you can be within a small range and it still be acceptable. So what's really important for tolerance is this symbol, okay? It's just a plus and a minus on top of each other, like that, just right next to each other, like that. And that basically just means, say I had 10 centimeters here, and then I could say, well, 10 centimeters plus or minus 1 centimeter. So that means, ideally I want something to be 10 centimeters, but it could be 1 centimeter bigger as well. So it could be up to 11 centimeters, or it could be 1 centimeter smaller. So it could be as low as 9 centimeters. So in this situation, if you were told that something had to be 10 centimeters long, plus or minus 1 centimeter, you might be asked what the lowest and highest values could be that fit that. So the lowest here, well, the lowest, that's going to be your 10 centimeters minus 1 centimeter. So your lowest value there would be 9 centimeters. Now, if you were asked for the highest, well, your highest possible value, that's going to be your 10 centimeters plus your 1 centimeter. So your highest possible value is 11 centimeters. And that's what we mean here by tolerance. So you might get, for example, a question where it asks you to work out gradient. And it says the gradient needs to be 2 plus or minus 0.2. So that would mean, okay, well, the highest it could be would be 2 plus 0.2. And the lowest it could be would be 2 minus 0.2. And then you work out your value, and if it's within that range, spot on. Perfect. So we will need to look at another type of tolerance as well, but before we do, let's just practice a few of these. Now, this is very simple. It's just some basic adding and subtracting. So I'm going to write some examples down here, and we'll just then write after what the highest value is and what the lowest value is. So let's have a look at these then. So with first one, we've got 600 plus or minus 50. So the lowest that could be, I'm just going to write L. Well, the lowest would be 600 minus 50. So that's 550. And the highest, and I'm just going to write a H, the highest would be 600 plus 50, so 650. So in this situation, what this means is anything between 550 and 650 is fine. This next one, 10 kilograms plus or minus 0.4 of a kilogram. Well, the lowest then is going to be 10 kilograms, take away that. So it's going to be 9.6 kilograms. And the highest is going to be 10 kilograms plus that. So 10.4 kilograms. And then this last one, 150 mils plus or minus 25. Well, the lowest is going to be 150, take that. So that's going to be 125 mils. And the highest, well, that would be 150 plus that, which is 175 mils. And that's your basic idea of tolerance. Now, it could be where your tolerance is written exactly like this, in the same units. So it's 600 plus or minus 50. it's 10 kilograms plus or minus some amount of kilograms. You could, however, get a tolerance that's written as a percentage instead. So instead of it being 10 centimeters plus or minus a centimeter, you might get one where it says it's 10 centimeters plus or minus 10%. And in that case, what you need to do first is work out what 10% of that is, and then add it on for your highest, take it off for your lowest. Now, we've had plenty of practice at percentages, so we should know how to do that. You could either divide it by 100, then times it by 10, or you could times it by 0.10. It's up to you, whichever way you find easiest to work out percentages. So let's have a look at a couple there that use your tolerance written in percentage form. So here we go, we've got some written as a percentage. So here we're saying, oh, it's 700 plus or minus 5%. So we will want to work out what the lowest value is within that tolerance and what the highest is. But to do that, first we're going to actually have to work out what the 5% is. So 5%, now the way I would always do this would be 5%, well that's 0.05 as a decimal, times by 700. So 0.05 times by 700, 0.05 times by 700 equals 35. So that means this is really 700 plus or minus 35. So for the lowest, 700 take away 35 is 665. For the highest, 700 plus 35 is 735. So nice and simple, the exact same process. We've just worked out this percentage first. So next, let's work out what 2% is. So to work out 2%, 0.02 times by 30. So 0.02 times by 30 equals 0.6 kilograms. So the lowest is going to be 30 kilograms, take away that. So 30 take away 0.6 is 29.4 kilograms. And the highest then, well, that's going to be 30 plus this, so 30.6 kilograms. And then this last one, 10% of that, well, that equals 0.10 times by 80, which equals 8 centimetres. So then our lowest, well, that's going to be 72 centimetres. Watch here, I'm being very careful with the units. We're making sure the units match the whole time. And then the highest, well, that's going to be 88 centimetres. And there we go. That's how you'd use your tolerances there to work them out. Now, I'm just going to pause for a second again and write down a sort of an example type question you might see in an exam or a test. So here's a question with a little bit more context to it. So the acceptable weight for a bag of sweets is 39 grams plus or minus 5%. How many of the bags below are unacceptable? And here we've got a list of different weights of bags. So we need to see how many of those aren't within that tolerance, are unacceptable. So first, let's work out what our lowest value would be, our lowest acceptable, and our highest acceptable value. But because this is as a percentage, we first need to work out what that percentage is. So 5%, well, that's 0.05 times by 39. So 0.05 times by 39 equals 1.95. So our lowest value then will be 39 grams take away 1.95. So our lowest acceptable is 37.05 grams. Then our highest is going to be 39 plus this. So 39 plus 1.95, well, that equals 40.95 grams. So if any of these are outside this range, but not between 37.05 and 40.95, they're unacceptable. So let's go through them, and we'll just circle the ones that are unacceptable then. Trying to get this all in. So, 37 grams. Well, that's not between them, is it? That's too low. That's lower than the lowest, so that's unacceptable. 37.5. Well, that's greater than that, and it's lower than that, so that's fine. 34 grams. Well, that's lower than this, so that's unacceptable. 42 grams. Well, that's higher than that, so that's unacceptable. So, for it to be unacceptable, then it needs to be lower than the lowest or higher than the highest. 40 grams. Well, no, that's okay. That's in between them, so that's fine. 39 grams. That's in between those as well. We're good. 38.8. That's in between. 41.2. Well, no, that's not in between. That's too high. 33.4. Well, that's too low. And 46.5. Well, that's way too high. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them are unacceptable, which is not a great ratio when there's only 4 that are. Okay, and so that's a use for tolerances. So hopefully that was all understandable. If not, you know how to get in touch with me. Thanks for watching.